Welcome from the Office for Education Policy. I'm Denise Arola, and I wanted to put together a quick video on the K-3 screener results, which have just been released by the Division of Elementary and Secondary Education. And there's just some need-to-knows about those results that I want to share with you. Last year I did a video about how the system was designed to have the K-3 screeners. Then those are followed by diagnostic testlets so that we can identify early in the year students who may need extra help. And then those are followed by K2 interims and an end of the year summative assessment at K2. So let's talk about the new screener. Even though we gave the screener last year, it was completely redesigned, and the report for the screener has been completely redesigned. So let's take a look at it. These screeners are required for literacy for all students in K through 3 and in math for K through 2. And these two charts that I grabbed from the Division for Elementary and Secondary Education give you a sense of the different components of the system and when they're given and what parts of the law they meet, and what is required and what isn't required. So you'll see that literacy is different from math. You have K3 because it's important to catch any unexpected risks that come up at the beginning of grade 3. It's such an important year for reading. And then with math, it's K2. And these two are designed slightly differently. So let's talk a little bit about that. These two screeners are designed a little differently, so the results are also reported a little differently. First, overall, the screeners are designed to provide an indication of whether your student is ready for grade level learning or at potential risk of needing additional support to access grade level learning. And this could mean that your child may not have had exposure to some of this or opportunity to learn, or that they're experiencing some difficulties with anything that they have had the opportunity to learn. This helps teachers get a clear sense right away of where they might need to dig deeper. Potential risks, that means that your child may need support to access grade level learning. They may need to get some foundational skills in order to be able to progress through the year in literacy. I also want to make sure everybody understands that the screener is just one piece of data among other information that your child's teacher will have about your child. And so this information should always be followed up. Depending on how your child does on it would determine the type of follow-up that is most appropriate for your child. The literacy measures are readiness measures on skills that are foundational for literacy learning in the grade level that your child is entering. That's how the literacy screeners have been designed. The math measures the early on grade level standards, not the foundational skills to get there, but already on grade level standards for your child. So they provide slightly different information. We'll take a closer look at both. You can access these using the code that's provided by your child's teacher, your child's month, day, and year of their birthday, and their legal first name. If you're not sure which legal first name is on file for this, then you can contact your child's teacher. But once you get into the family portal, you'll see your child's results. When you get into the landing page, depending on your child's grade level and assessments that have been completed, you will typically get the most recent scores. There's a few menu items you can select from here. So you can look at scores from this current school year, the school year your child is in. You could also select to look at prior year scores if your student was enrolled in an Arkansas school last year. You will also see you can ask for the most recent test, you can ask for all tests, you can ask for different subjects, and I have just gone ahead and allowed it to show whatever is available. So here you can see on the left we have the English Language Arts, which is the literacy screener. And you can tell that because the most recent test says Atlas Grade 2 BOY, which stands for Beginning of the Year Literacy Screener. Over here we have Mathematics Atlas Grade 2 Math Screener. So slightly different names. And notice also that you get different information. Here on the left for literacy, you see the score is the word ready. And the two scores that you would see for your child are either ready or potential risk. On the right, for math, you can see there's a little bit different information. You actually get a numeric score. In this case, this is a 150. Here's the scale, 0 to 150, and you can see where the ready cut lies. So if your child falls in the green area, their score is above that cut, they're going to be in the green area, and if not, they're going to be below it, and they would be at potential risk. So let's dig deeper into each of these. To get to the detailed report, you need to click on Download Detailed Report, and you'll have a pop-up on your screen that you can see here at the lower end of this slide. And to download it, you have to actually click on Download. If your browser does not allow pop-ups, you need to enable pop-ups from the Atlas Family Portal so that you can get this small dialog screen that lets you click PDF Report Download. What might you see once you get into the report? The Literacy Screener student report includes an overall ready or potential risk. You're going to find that over in the upper left-hand corner. And depending on the grade level, you may have oral reading fluency accuracy and fluency rate scores. Those are only available for grades 2 and 3. Here we have that the child is ready. We have an explanation of the screener results and an explanation of what oral reading fluency is. Oral reading fluency is an important measure that research has shown can predict later reading difficulties. And so it's an important thing for us to keep track of with your student, because your student may be able to comprehend text and answer all kinds of questions, but if they're struggling in oral reading fluency, sometimes it can indicate that there may be more that you need to know in that area. So the literacy screener includes that overall ready or potential risk flag. And then in the lower section of the report, you're going to see the literacy skills section that breaks down your child's readiness level for each of the different types of skills. And these skills are different by grade level. And it's important, again, to note that this is a single piece of information at the beginning of the school year. And it's intended to provide a signal that results in follow-up if it's necessary. So if your child were to be ready in 2 of the areas but not ready in 1, even though they're ready overall, a teacher may want to follow up and figure out like what was the issue with, say, oral reading fluency, if that were the one that your child struggled with. Here we have the math student report, and you'll notice it looks different. This is not the detailed report. This is the simple. And you'll see the score, and we want to know what else is different about the report. So you're going to click on that Download Detailed Report. Again, you'll get a pop-up. You'll click on Download, and you should get a downloaded PDF that you can review of your student's report. The math report looks very different, and part of that is because it does give you an overall scale score. It gives you something called the error of measurement, since no test is perfect, and the information that we get from it gives us a score. That score might have actually fallen within a range. In this case, this particular student was a 150 plus or minus 28. So the student could, if they took the test over and over again, they would fall somewhere between 122 and 150. It's a little misleading with the plus since the scale ends. Those details aside, let's take a look. How did the child do on the test? You have the score. So what does that score mean? You have a little bit of information over here on the right. You have the average score for all the second grade students in math in Arkansas. You have your child's district average score, and you can see that the district scored on average higher than the state. And you can also see that your child's school, on average, scored higher than both your child's district and the state. So on average, your child is in a school that's performing above the state and the district. And we don't really get much more information than that. You'll have whether the student is ready or at potential risk based on where their score falls on the line. I pulled a few profiles because children do have different profiles. And they're also assessed on different skills based on the grade level. So these are two kindergarten profiles that I pulled. And you can see that the top one, the student is at potential risk. And when you look at the different literacy skills, these are kindergartners, so they're being assessed on alphabet knowledge, phonemic awareness, language comprehension, and rapid naming. And you can see the student is ready on rapid naming, but has these three areas of potential risk. And so overall, this student is a potential risk. And the teacher would probably be following up with some testlets to see exactly where they're struggling, which letters don't they know, which sounds of the language are they not familiar with or fluent with, and also, their understanding of the language. On the bottom, you can see a slightly different profile. That particular student there was ready in alphabet knowledge and ready in rapid naming, but struggled with the phonemic awareness and the language composition. So follow-up for the student is going to be slightly different in terms of follow-up testlets that the teacher may provide. So if your child has a profile that's kind of mixed, you would want to know from your teacher if they have done additional testlets or follow-up, because it is October. This is October 15th, and the scores just were released because, again, the test was redesigned. In future years, the scores will be released earlier in the learning part of the year, so closer to in August or September. But because this year they're released later, an area that is potential risk from the screener taken in August or September may already be an area that your child has demonstrated the skills, because they were probably learning along the way. So that's important information to get from your child's teacher. Here's an example from grade 1 literacy. You can see they're assessed on phonemic awareness, decoding, encoding, language comprehension, and rapid naming. So again, different profiles, different kids, different areas. The intention of this screener is to give enough information to signal whether you need to go to deeper information or whether your student is already ready to learn and progress on the regular grade level standards. Grades 2 and 3 get assessed on 3 literacy skills: encoding, oral reading fluency, and reading comprehension. And depending on how they flag, they may be overall ready or they may be overall at potential risk. But again, when you look at the skills, that's something that you want to follow up with if there are any areas of potential risk. What's been going on to learn more about that particular issue for your student. So what's next? If you have questions about your child's score, talk with your child's teacher. Understand what it means for your child's learning. It's a piece of data. It's not everything. So ask if your child has completed additional testlets or smaller diagnostic tasks or other local teacher assessments that have helped your teacher to understand, is your child learning in these areas that were identified from early in the year, or does your child need additional support, and what you might do to help your child and support your teacher, your child's teacher, in helping your child get the learning they need. Due to the later release of the screener scores this year, I just want to emphasize that your child may have already learned these foundational skills by the time you're getting these scores. So if you've already conferenced with your child's teacher and they've told you things are good to go, don't panic if you get potential risk. Just do a quick follow-up and find out if everything is still good. So just want to give you that word of caution. And finally, it's a busy time, so stay tuned. The 2025 K2 summative results are releasing this month. If your child was a kindergartner last year, first or second grader, they'll be getting results from the end of last school year. The screener was prioritized because it's very actionable information that teachers and parents need right now. So the K2 summative results are helpful in understanding how your child finished the year last year. And in the future, those will be released much earlier than October. They're going to be released in June or July. And you'll have a sense of, how your child finished the year. And it should tell you similar things, unless you do some intervention over the summer, what you're going to get on the screener at the beginning of the next year. So if your child is in grades 3 through high school, they may have already completed an interim assessment on this year's academic standards, and you can get into the family portal and take a look at those scores. I have a video from last year that talks about how to understand the interim scores. It's kind of important because the interims test on all the grade level standards based on expectations for the end of the year. So it's not unusual for students to start out with lower scores on the very first interim they take at the beginning of the year. But if you need more information, you can check out that video on our YouTube channel. And you can also find out if your child has any other additional results in the Family Portal. I have linked some resources for families. There are places on the DESE website where you can get additional information, and of course within the Family Portal you can get additional information.